and welcome back to Rumor Has It Official. Let's get straight into talking about 90 Day Fiance The Other Way. This is season 3, episode 9, and the title of this episode is Fish or Cut Bait. In this video, we will be mashing up all the couples. This time around, it's going to be Jenny and Sumit, Ari and Binyam, Steven and Alina, Corey and Evelyn, and Kenny and Armando in this recap. I do have my handy dandy phone here so that I can read from my notes and stay on topic and get out all the points that I want to discuss in regards to these couples. So I'm not going to hold you all long. We're going to go ahead and get straight into this recap, starting it off with Jenny and Sumit. So Sumit's parents have arrived and they waste no time putting Jenny into work. In the last episode, we saw them come straight in. The mom put Jenny straight to work. It exposed a lot of things in their household as far as she's really not tidy and she really doesn't keep a clean home. And the home can be a lot more cleaner. And so those things were exposed, and Jenny, she didn't like it one bit, of course, but the mom was really on her, making sure that house was in tip-top shape. Jenny and Sumit's mother are in the kitchen cooking together, and Jenny doesn't understand Indian, and Sumit's mother can't speak English. So you tell me, why did Sumit just leave them alone in the kitchen? It's obvious that they needed someone to stay there who could translate. And, I feel like his behind should have just stuck around to translate, or either Jenny needed to use a translator app or get her phone out and try to understand what this woman was saying to her. In this episode, Sumit's mother is calling Jenny useless and saying that Jenny knows nothing. And Jenny is sitting there laughing and smiling, thinking they're having a moment, but she has no clue that she's being talked about to her face. So that was like, wow. Jenny thinks that it's a positive and that they can actually be friends again. These are the things that she is saying during her one-on-one time with the camera crew. While eating, Sumit's mother begins to tell her son that Jenny wasn't at any point during their time in the kitchen interested in cooking. She can tell these things. This is what she says. And as she's talking, she then says to Jenny, like along the lines, will she be able to handle society laughing at her about her age and calling her an old lady? Jenny gets upset because she does understand when his mom says grandma. So she gets really upset, and at some point she starts sniffing a lot. So she takes some tissue and she's like cleaning her nose. She's rubbing her nose with that tissue. Then she places it onto the table where they're eating. Sumit's mother finds it nasty and tells her to throw it away in the trash bin. Sumit then translates and Jenny gets up and walks away. Now, another thing in this episode with these two that was revealed was the parents have a desire to live all together. Sumit says that he wants that as well. But Jenny claims that this is the first time she ever heard this. This is like news to her. It's new news to her. She didn't know that that's what he wanted. She also feels like it's not really what he wants. That's what she wants to believe, but I think it is. I think that Sumit enjoys being coddled and being up under mommy and daddy and being taken care of. I think that he is okay if they could get along. This is why it means so much to him. Not so meaning so much so that him and Jenny could get married. I think it means so much to him so that he can be taken care of. Sumit says that it is his dream to live all together, meaning he wants them all to live under one household. So I don't know. Comment down below your thoughts, besties, on what you thought all about this whole episode with Jenny and Sumit. Now, before we get started moving on to Ari and Binyam, give this video a big thumbs up, share, subscribe, plus hit that bell so you will be notified on future uploads. And let's move right on to Ari and Binyam. So Ari has been in the U.S. for a week, and she says that being apart from Binyam has been stressful and hard on their relationship. Now, in this scene, Ari tries to call him and discovers that his phone is off. They have been fighting, and when Ari finally talks to him, Binyam is lying about his whereabouts, what he's been doing. It just doesn't seem like he's being truthful. Now, he's been hanging out a lot more with his friends since she's been gone, and Ari feels because he's putting his phone on airplane mode that he's up to something. Now, do you all believe that Binyam is up to no good? Now, in the next scene, they show Binyam, and he says it's been a month since Ari left, and Avi still hasn't had his surgery. He says that he's been keeping busy by hanging with old friends and going to the gym so he won't stress. Comment down below your thoughts on Ari and Binyam and their whole situation. And let's move right along to Steven and Alina. So Steven tells Alina that he doesn't want to lose her and plans to show her that she means the world to him. Alina's mother tells the camera crew that Steven acts like a child and that's why she wants her daughter to come home. Now in the car, Steven says to Alina's mother that he's concerned that based off of the serious conversations they've had, that she now has a bad impression of him. He would like her forgiveness for his past mistakes. She tells him it's time for him to go from words to actions because words are just words. Her mother believes that it's just a matter of time and her daughter will see Steven's illusions are wrong. Once Alina's mom gets on the airplane, she gets sad and feels as though she made a mistake not getting on the plane with her mother. Now in the next scene, Steven makes an appointment for a spa day. He tells Alina that he brought her to the spa to have a fresh start. And Alina tells him that he talks a lot, but she needs to see actions. She says, "Did you delete your social media accounts?" And Steven begins to recite this rehearsed excuse and lie like he always does. Alina doesn't let up. And she tells him that he needs to delete those accounts, period, point blank, because you don't know how to control yourself. So if you want a relationship with me, this is what's going to make me feel comfortable and more confident in the relationship. You need to delete the accounts, but he's stalling. Now, the producer poses the question, if Steven was to propose, what would she say? Alina says that she doesn't know. It all depends on Steven's actions and on him deleting those social media accounts. So Alina checks back in with her friend Masha. You remember she had her friend Masha set him up basically to test his faithfulness, if he's faithful and trustworthy. So when she checks back in with Masha, she finds out that he's still talking to Masha and flirting. Plus, he hasn't deleted those social media accounts. Alina is giving this kid, I feel like, too many chances. And after all the lies and how, he tried to really flip the script on her once she revealed that she had Masha come in and test him, I feel like all those things are just enough for her to go ahead and to leave. I really don't see it working out too long. I want to believe Alina's a very smart young lady, and I believe that this relationship won't last. I don't see it lasting, but I could be wrong. Comment down below your thoughts on Steven and Alina. Next, let's move on to Corey and Evelyn. So Corey has been living with Raul for a week, but finally decided to get his own place. He's been there for a few weeks and he's been giving Evelyn space to let things cool down. In this episode, he invites Evelyn to his new place and cooks for her. He's super nervous, you can tell once she gets there, because he's kind of stumbling and stuttering over his words. And he expresses to her how sorry he is. And Evelyn says that she's had time to think about it and she really doesn't trust him, even though he seems to be sincere. Corey says he's willing to do whatever it takes. And in this episode, Evelyn ends up suggesting that they go to couples therapy. Now, in the next scene, they do so. They move right on and they go to couples counseling. And the counselor tells Corey that he needs to come clean about everything in order for Evelyn to feel like she can forgive him. One of the things that Evelyn mentioned was she calls it a really bad car accident. To me, it didn't seem that bad. I'm just saying. But she was in a really bad car accident. That's what she said. And she called Corey, even though they were on their break and she told him to leave. She called Corey and she swears that she could hear a woman in the background saying something about wine, like wanting wine, asking for wine, something along those lines. All this time she's confronting him about that, and he says it was no woman in the background, but in fact, I believe he was with Jenny during that time. This is all the reason she says he just lies. He loves to lie. It's hard for her to trust him. So that was the episode with Corey and Evelyn. Not much, kind of boring in my opinion. Comment down below your thoughts, and let's move on to our last couple, which is Kenny and Armando. So Kenny and Armando, in this scene, they show Armando and Hannah. They go off, I think, to the park, and Kenny uses that alone time to FaceTime his daughters, and he gets emotional. He tells his daughters that he's miserable because his daughter is pregnant, and he's sad he's missing a lot of the milestones. I believe it is the daughter that came to visit Cassidy who is now pregnant. So this is really hard for him that he's missing out. Also, he has another grandchild and he's missing out on him growing up. And that was the daughter that actually, not Cassidy, but that was the other daughter that actually lived with him. So he tells them that he's homesick and he didn't realize the emotional impact moving to Mexico would have on him. Kenny doesn't talk to Armando about him being homesick, but feels at some point he needs to. So they kind of fast forward. It's been a few days since Kenny spoke to his daughters about, being really homesick. And in this scene, he decides to share with Armando that he feels that it's time for him to be honest with Armando. He shares with Armando that he is feeling homesick. And Armando's like, you're scaring me. And he says something along the lines to the camera crew, like during his confessional time, I didn't realize that it was this serious type of thing. Something along those lines, like, don't quote me, this is not verbatim, but something along those lines. And my thing is like, this man left his family, his children, his grandchildren. To me, if he wasn't talking about it, I would find that strange. I would be checking with him like, how are you doing? I know this was a lot for you to move. How are you feeling homesick? I would be checking in with the person if they're not talking about it, because that's not normal. Knowing how much his family, his kids, they mean to him, there'd be no way. I would be posing the question to them, like, are you okay? I'd be checking in with them. So I think sometimes both of them can have a little bit of, I would say, selfishness a little bit, not considering the other, because that is a lot for someone to take off and leave their family, their kids and grandkids, and move there. And you think he's just going to be content just with you and Hannah? That's kind of unfair. So, I think that it's best for them to both think about each other and consider each other's feelings, because I do see where there are a lot of things that Armando wants, and Kenny does make a lot of sacrifices. So I do kind of understand why sometimes he feels the way he feels in regards, now starting to come to me, why he feels the way he feels about Armando's father, accepting them, because he feels like he has sacrificed so much, to come there and be with them. And so he wants to be able to come to a family where he is accepted and loved, because when he's home, he's accepted and he's loved. So now I'm starting to kind of understand him in a sense, because like in previous recaps that I've done, I'm like, Kenny is like being a little controlling. He needs to slow his roll, but I understand now why it is so important to him. So I understand both sides. I'm staying very neutral with both of them. But I'm really interested, besties, on your thoughts on Kenny and Armando and all the couples that we discussed in this recap. Give this video a big thumbs up, share, subscribe, plus hit that bell so you will be notified on all future uploads. We talked about 90 Day Fiance the other way, season 3, episode 9, I believe. This is episode 9. Yeah, episode 9. And the title of this episode is Fish or Cut Bait. Thank you so much for all your love, patience, and support. I look forward to talking to you in that comment section down below, and also seeing you in the next video. And I also want to give a huge shout out to all of my besties, those who are purchasing merch, buying stickers, any of the items, masks that I have up there. Thank you so much for your support. I truly appreciate it. I might not be always able to respond to you all in that comment section. I do try my best, but if I don't, your comments don't go unnoticed. I just want to verbally tell you from my mouth so you can see me and feel my sincerity, how grateful and appreciative I am of each and every one of you. Thank you so much, besties. I appreciate your support. I know it takes me some time to get recaps out. I didn't get a recap out last Sunday. Sometimes you just really have to know when to take a break and have self-care. And that is a top priority. My mental health, all those things are very important to me. So sometimes I feel all over the place and I just can't do it. But I appreciate you all still sticking beside me, rocking with me, showing me love, showing me support. You are so appreciated. Thank you so very much. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace.